Hi, welcome to the Dynamic Duel podcast, a weekly show where we review superhero films and debate the superiority between Marvel and DC by comparing their characters in stat-based battle simulations. I'm Johnny DC.
And I'm his twin brother, Marvelous Joe.
And we are back to doing a Duel episode. After 3 review episodes in a row, we are now going to pit Vibe against Miss America, aka America Chavez, in a tie-in episode to our review of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. And just a quick heads up, my throat is still not 100% here. If you listen to our last episode, you'll remember that it was completely broken and weird. Joseph's recovering from COVID.
Yeah, my throat is still a little bit gone, but for the most part, I'm feeling better. I'm on the mend, so that's good. But now, Jonathan, that your throat is feeling better, I think you have to pay up on the bet that we made regarding who would have the bigger box office between Doctor Strange 2 and the Batman movie. Since Doctor Strange 2 won, you still have to say on the podcast that Batman is a piece of shit. So let's hear it.
Not gonna lie, I was hoping you forgot about this.
Yeah, I did it. I did it, and neither did the audience.
Okay. Now, you didn't say how I had to say it. So,
what?
Here goes. Okay, Batman is a piece of shit, I guess.
Was that sarcasm?
Yes, just in case you try and take it out of context. No one will believe you that I actually said it and meant it. Because I don't.
Are you surprised that Doctor Strange beat the Batman? Who's the more popular character out of those two?
Well, Batman.
Is there any character that you would say is a piece of shit?
Doctor Strange.
We'll say that then.
Doctor Strange. No. Why? You're just going to edit it. Let's try. No. See right through you.
What are you talking about?
I already said Batman. You're not going to splice those two things together. Fuck off.
Well, what did you think I was going to splice?
Because I said Batman already.
Uh-huh.
Who's the more popular character? I was like, Batman. You were going to think I was going to say that Doctor Strange is a piece of shit.
Okay. But before we get into the Duel episode, we're going to go ahead and break down the comic book movie news from this past week,
including the official Thor Love and Thunder trailer and our first set photos of Blue Beetle that have revealed his costume. As always, our segment times are in our episode description, so feel free to check out the show notes if you want to skip ahead to a particular topic.
Guys, quick reminder, don't forget to join us on Patreon, where we offer ad-free episodes of this show via a custom RSS feed, bonus content including top 10 episodes and bloopers, monthly live movie watch-alongs, and access to our Discord chat server. Check it out right after this episode at patreon.com/dynamicduel, linked in our show notes. Our lowest tier is only $2 a month, and it's $10 a month if you want to be an executive producer of this show. We want to give a shout out to our newest patron, Jay Chow, who joined up last week. We want to thank you so much for supporting the show. Truly means a lot to Jonathan and I.
And we also want to give a big thank you to BBC FFCYV blah, 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 for leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, thank you very much. But with all that out of the way,
Batman is a piece of shit.
A No Prize is an award Marvel used to give out up until the 90s to fans. Our version, the Dynamic Duel No Prize, is a digital award we post on Instagram for the person that we feel gave the best answer to our question of the week. Last week, in response to the news that Daredevil will be getting a revival series on Disney+, we asked, what Marvel Netflix show do you hope gets revived on Disney+ next? Yeah, we got a lot of answers this week. Let's go ahead and run down the honorable mentions as well as the No Prize winner. Our first honorable mention goes to Kevin S., who said,
Hi guys, the show that I would like to see come back would be The Defenders. Just because I feel like it had the best of both worlds, well, all of the worlds. Even Iron Fist, which I know you guys didn't like much, he looked very cool on that show. And as much as I hate to agree with Johnny DC because, Marvel Forever, that episode 4, Moon Knight, was very dark for me too. You're not the only one, man. But I still like the show, so thanks, guys.
I told you. You didn't believe me, you blamed me, but I'm not the only one who had the problem with the darkness and the lighting in Moon Knight. Thank you.
Yeah, you're not the only one with the TV settings problem, basically, is what I just heard. But no, this is a great answer. As we all know, the Daredevil series is coming back to Disney+. And I think The Defenders deserves a second season out of a lot of those Netflix shows, because it so seamlessly intertwined the worlds of Daredevil, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and Iron Fist. I thought it was a really well done show. You guys can listen to our review that we put out when that show came out. And I'd love to see them just all team up again. I don't think we necessarily need to get all the individual shows revived. Maybe they just join together in a team series from here on out.
Yeah, maybe do like Daredevil and Heroes for Hire.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Our next honorable mention goes to Lizzie Dyer Arney, who said,
Hey, it's Lizzie. So in the comics, Luke and Jessica are married with their daughter Danielle, who's named after Danny Rand, who I know is a controversial character on this program. What better way to rebrand the Netflix series for Disney Plus than by having a crime-fighting family? Marvel has already watered down Jessica Jones from her early 2000s appearance, so why not put her on Disney Plus?
That's a great point. Like, if you look at the original Alias comics, they were Marvel Max comics. They were very mature content. I mean, the television show, Jessica Jones, was also pretty mature, but I just love the Luke Cage, Jessica Jones relationship. They did have a daughter later on in the comics, and well, I'm not saying you can make a great family show out of that unit. I think it would be a great way to actually make the characters more family friendly if you gave them a daughter. And then we just got to see Luke and Jessica raise Danielle on a Luke Cage and Jessica Jones television show.
I could totally see just like a Disney Channel sitcom of like Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, just like a complete about face from the tone that was from Netflix. That'd be hilarious.
That would be hilarious, completely with like a laugh track and everything.
Yeah, and like the musical numbers and stuff like that.
Yeah, I follow both Mike Coulter and Kristen Ritter on social media, and both those actors are very much more lighthearted than the characters they portray on the Netflix shows. So yeah, I could totally see that working, actually. As much as I would hate it, I would also love it.
Actually, on their social media accounts, they recently posted that they got together for a secret project recently. You gotta wonder what that is.
I wonder. Our final honorable mention goes to Brandon Estergard, who said,
they definitely need to revive the Punisher and bring back John Bernthal. Not only was he a badass in that series, it was a really good story. Dealt with a lot of hard topics like PTSD, domestic terrorism, and yeah, another person to add to Midnight Suns as well.
Yeah, I think out of all the Netflix shows, besides Daredevil, I did like Punisher the most overall. I loved both seasons 1 and 2. John Bernthal was absolutely fantastic as the character. I'd love to see him come back. It would be hard to say how the Disney Plus platform would treat a Punisher television series. I almost hate to think about what they would do in terms of dialing down the violence, but I hope they wouldn't do much, and regardless, I would just love to see the character back.
I'm really hoping that if they do a Punisher series, they keep it TVMA. Even if it can't be on the Disney Plus series, just, like put it on Hulu or something like that. Mm-hmm. I think that would be ultimately better for the character. I don't want a watered down Punisher.
I don't think anybody does. Nobody does.
We want to give a quick thanks to DC Joe, Lokshtangi, Sean Lang, and Jacob Bell for taking the time to visit our website and record an answer. But the winner of this week's No Prize is John Speas, who said,
Hi, gentlemen. John Speas here. The Netflix show that I would like to see come back is Daughters of the Dragon. Yes, I know it wasn't actually a Netflix show, but I want to see Jessica Henwick come back as Colleen Wing, Simone Missick come back as Misty Knight, and I want a good 6 to 8 episode either buddy cop show or dark detective story. I think that would be awesome.
That would be awesome. I loved this answer. Yes, John's right. We never got Daughters of the Dragon series. This would be new to Disney Plus. But considering that both Jessica Henwick and Simone Missick were standout actors for the respective series of Iron Fist and Luke Cage, I think this is a fantastic idea. I would love this. I love the Daughters of the Dragon characters, Colleen Wing and Misty Knight. If you guys want to learn more about them, definitely check out our Duel episode where we pit them against the Daughters of the Demon, Talia al Ghul, and Nissa al Ghul. It was a fun episode, and I think they're often overlooked characters that are definitely interesting enough to hold their own.
Oh, yeah, totally. And I can't get over how great the casting choices were made for the Netflix shows. I would love to see those actresses come back.
So great answer, John. If you guys haven't listened to his podcast, the Blast from Our Past podcast, then you must be new to Dynamic Duel because we talk about those guys all the time. They're good friends of the show and good friends in real life. So after this, check out the Blast from Our Past podcast. But congrats again to John for winning this week's No Prize. If you, the listener, want a shot at winning your own No Prize, stay tuned to later on this episode when we'll be asking another question of the week. And now that that's done,
Batman is a piece of shit.
All right, this past week, we got the first official trailer for Thor Love and Thunder, which is coming to theaters on July 8th. It hasn't been too long since we got the first official teaser of this movie. It seems like the previews are coming back to back because we don't have long until this movie actually premieres. But where the teaser was mainly just a taste of what the plot could be, here we got a better look at what the overall story is. It starts off with Korg kind of telling these alien children about the space Viking Thor, how he got back into shape, and how he was ready to reclaim his title as the one and only Thor. But this trailer begins where the last teaser ended, where we see Jane Foster holding the reconstructed Mjolnir. I do think that this particular trailer felt a little bit rushed because there were a lot of continuity errors that they chose to use for this promo.
Oh, you mean like Thor's helmet?
Thor's helmet, yes. When we see Thor reaching for Mjolnir as it's coming to him, he's wearing this fur cape and a very like stripped down leather tunic kind of thing. Not at all very superhero-y and much more Viking-like. But in the shot where we see him shocked that Jane Foster has caught Mjolnir and he says, "Jane?" In this really stupid, bad green screen shot, he's wearing his like Asgardian armor again. It's complete with the helmet and everything. So it's just very confusing. And I understand that this is just a trailer, but for the context of storytelling, it makes it really hard to figure out how that moment is going to play out in the final film. There's another instance of that weird editing where we see Valkyrie talking to Thor about how he probably still has feelings for her, and she tells him this while the group is in Olympus. But his response to this trailer is this like, whatever, or something like that. And he's doing that while wearing his like rocker outfit while still with the Guardians of the Galaxy. So the editing of the trailer is all over the place. And I understand, yes, just a promo, but it does make it feel like this whole thing was kind of rushed, which is probably the case. Of course, the biggest reveal of this trailer is Christian Bale as Gore the God Butcher. Holy shit. Dude looks awesome.
Amazing.
Now, he doesn't look like the noseless alien with the tentacles from his head as he's designed in the comic books, but I think he looks pretty damn good nevertheless. You know, he looks very much inspired by the comic book character. I think if you took away his nose, he'd look too much like Voldemort from Harry Potter.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm kind of glad that they kept the look. We see All Black, the Necro Sword. I'm not quite sure how its power is going to manifest in this movie, since they kind of gave Gore the God Butcher's powers to Hela in the Thor Ragnarok movie.
I'm not too familiar with Gore the God Butcher. I didn't realize he had tentacles on his head, and I didn't realize that the Necro Sword was like what Hela had. Nonetheless, it definitely looks like he is a force of nature, and I don't know if that's just from Christian Bale's performance, but I'm really excited to see this character in the movie.
It seems like he has the really cool ability to turn things into grayscale or something, like in the environment.
And it looks gorgeous.
It does. It looks very artistic, the way that these battles are going to be shot between him and Thor. Taika Waititi is just very artful when it comes to his visuals that we see on the screen, as we saw in Thor Ragnarok when he visited Planet Sakaar, which was very, Kirby-esque in its design.
Right, right.
I expect no less for this movie. It looks visually spectacular. One of the most visually impressive Marvel movies that we've probably ever seen. Even Olympus looks really cool, although I'll say I did not appreciate the stupid-ass jokes that they had in this trailer for the moment when Russell Crowe's Zeus flicks off Thor's clothes and Thor's like, "You flicked too hard." I was like, really? That's kind of childish.
You had to see that coming, dude. It's Marvel. And they've been trying to get his clothes off in like every movie.
It was kind of funny how like everyone around Zeus, like his maidens and his guards all like fainted from it. That was pretty funny. But I wonder if they're going to like pixelate the butt and everything in the theatrical version.
They have to do something. They're not going to actually show it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like this is a DC animated film, right? Yeah.
That's fair. What did you think of Jane in this trailer?
I thought she was cool. I really liked the part where she shot the hailstones out of Mjolnir, which was a cool effect that we had never seen Thor do with a hammer in his movies.
Oh, hailstones. I thought those were actually fragments of the hammer that would just like shoot out and then like return and reform the hammer.
I thought they were hailstones. You might be right.
I like my idea more.
I guess we'll find out. I'm not sure if we're going to get another trailer for this. We might get one more in late June, but the movie's just coming up in about a little over a month. So looking forward to it. But back when I mentioned that Gore the God Butcher looks like one of the coolest villains ever, I thought that would make for a good question of the week. Who is the coolest looking villain in a Marvel or DC film, and why?
Record your answer at dynamicduel.com by clicking on the red microphone button in the bottom right-hand corner, which will prompt you to leave us a voicemail. Your message could be up to 30 seconds long, and don't forget to leave your name in case we include you on the podcast. We'll pick our favorite answer and award that person a Dynamic Duel No Prize that we'll post to Instagram. Be sure to answer before June 4th. On the DC end of things, last week, Just Jared, who is like a behind-the-scenes kind of scooper, well, they released a huge amount of photos of the Blue Beetle movie that they're filming currently, giving us our first look at Cholo Maridueña as the Blue Beetle character, Jaime Reyes. And the suit for this looks so amazing. Typically, when you see like on-set photos of costumes, they look really bad, and fans complain. This one does not have that problem. This looks like a mixture between Iron Man and Spider-Man, and just awesomeness.
If you haven't seen these costume photos of Blue Beetle yet, get on the internet and check them out. You will be mind blown. Even I, as a Marvel fan, when they were first posted on our Discord server by Miggy, I was like, holy shit, this is one of the best looking costumes I think we've ever seen from a set photo of all time on any of these movies.
And what's crazy is that, these photos were taken in natural lighting. Typically in movies, when they're shooting something, they have their own lighting rigs that change the way the costume will look. Costumes always look better on screen. But I have a really hard time believing that the costume is going to look much better than it does here. I'm just surprised at how good it looks.
Yeah, I mean, if you had asked me what one of the biggest hurdles would be for producing a Blue Beetle movie, I would say 75% of the issue would be getting the costume right. If you want a successful Blue Beetle movie, get the costume right, because it is one of the best designs in all of superhero comics. I think they're there, especially if they do some like CG enhancements with like his backpack pinchers or whatever. I think it'll just be mind-blowing for audiences by the time this movie hits theaters.
Well, in the concept art that they released during the fandom for Blue Beetle, he definitely had like lights on his costume. So I imagine that the suit will be CG enhanced, which is going to make it just look even more awesome.
Yeah, I was a little bit skeptical that they would be able to pull off what we had seen in the promo concept art that we saw at DC Fandom. But yeah, they nailed it. Good job to the production team, specifically the costume department. Can't wait to see this movie. Thankfully, again, it was recently announced that it's coming to theaters, not just HBO Max, but we won't see it until the fall of 2023.
Yeah, August 18th, 2023, to be specific. Next year is just going to be an amazing year for DC films. We get Aquaman, we get The Flash, we get Blue Beetle, maybe Batgirl. It's going to be incredible.
But I think that does it for all the news for this episode, so let's go ahead and get into our main event, where we find out who'd win in a fight between the multiverse-traversing heroes Vibe and Miss America.
Okay, so Vibe versus Miss America Chavez. This battle was actually recommended to us on Twitter shortly after Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was released. At SolasBeardXL messaged us on Twitter suggesting this match. We ran it by our executive producers, and they, like us, thought it was a really, really good match. Both of these characters are Latin teenagers. Both of them deal with traversing the multiverse. We thought it was a perfect match.
Yeah, and plus Vibe is pretty well known from the Flash television show, and now that Miss America had a pretty prominent role in the Doctor Strange sequel, we thought this was a good tie-in duel to that movie and show.
If you've never listened to one of our Duel episodes before, the way we determine a winner between these two characters is by running 1,000 Monte Carlo simulations using their statistics. A Monte Carlo simulation is a probabilistic model used to determine outcomes through random sampling.
And in our case, it randomizes statistics along a normal distribution, which is a bell curve, as a way to simulate the many variables that can occur during battle. The stat parameters we use are based on the official Marvel Power Grid, and we use that criteria to extrapolate the DC character stats. We've included some additional stat categories of our own, such as range, damage potential, versatility, and perception, in order to create a more complete and robust simulation.
Running these 1,000 simulations gives us a percentage of wins for each character, and we declare the one with the higher percentage to be the ultimate victor, considering that they're more likely to win any given battle. No character ever wins 100% of the time. Comics have shown that there's usually a way for Batman to defeat Superman, and we feel our method falls in line with the precedents that have been established in the comic book stories.
And we use this method because it was the least subjective, most unbiased way to determine who would win. Of course, Jonathan and I are both heavily biased toward our respective allegiances, so instead of debating these matches forever, we just let the math decide for us. So there's no fan votes here, and no relying on just feats.
Before we run the simulations, though, we like to break down each character's histories and abilities before improvising a scenario on how we imagined one of the 1,000 simulations we run would play out beat for beat. And I believe it's my turn to go first with the DC character's backstory, so let me tell you all about Vibe. Francisco, aka Paco Ramon, was raised in a rough part of Detroit, Michigan to a large family. As a teenager, Paco became a talented breakdancer and realized he had vibratory metahuman abilities. His older brother Armando had similar abilities, and the two decided to form a street gang known as Los Lobos, which managed to occupy a sizable portion of Detroit thanks to their powers. When Aquaman disbanded the original Justice League and started a new chapter in Detroit, Paco decided to leave his gang and join the Justice League. You can learn more about the Justice League in our Justice League vs. Avengers Duel episode. Aquaman was initially hesitant to allow Paco to join the team due to several other young and inexperienced heroes' recent admissions, such as Vixen, Gypsy, and Steel, the latter of whom you can learn more about in our Commander Steel vs. Captain America episode. But after a display of Paco's power accidentally knocked Aquaman across the room, Paco was accepted as a full-time member named Vibe. It wasn't long, however, until Vibe's former gang life caught up with them, and he was pressured by Armando, now the sole leader of Los Lobos, into getting involved in a gang war against its rival gang, the Skulls. Knowing Vibe was in trouble, the Justice League got caught up in the war and regrettably helped Los Lobos bring down the Skulls. Vibe was allowed to remain on the team, however, and proved valuable in battles against the Cuadra, Amazo, and Despero during the Crisis on Infinite Earths. Despite his talents, Vibe's personality never quite fit in with the team, and when Martian Manhunter disbanded the short-lived incarnation of the Justice League during Darkseid's all-out assault on Earth's greatest heroes during the Legends storyline, Vibe returned to the streets, only to be strangled to death by one of Professor Ivo's robots, making him the very first Justice League member to ever be killed in action.
When he died, did his teammates say, "Bitch, don't kill my vibe. Bitch, don't kill my vibe"?
No, he was alone when it happened. Martian Manhunter brought Vibe's body to the Justice League's mountain headquarters, and he was laid to rest in a cryogenic chamber. In memory and honor of his brother's decision to become a superhero, Armando honed his own vibratory powers and became the hero Reverb, later known as Hardline. Though he was never a member of the Justice League, Reverb was a recurring member of the corporate-sponsored super team known as the Conglomerate, initially led by Booster Gold. During the Blackest Night event, Vibe and Steel, also deceased, were resurrected by Necron and attacked their former teammates Vixen and Gypsy, though Vibe's reanimated zombie Black Lantern body was destroyed by Dr. Light. After the Flashpoint event reset DC's continuity, a young Paco, now going by the nickname Cisco, was walking with his brothers when the first transdimensional boom tube leading Darkseid's first invasion of Earth randomly opened in Cisco's physical space, warping his DNA as he was trapped in the boom tube's event horizon. His older brother Armando managed to yank him out of the portal just as a parademon emerged and killed Armando, making him the first casualty in Darkseid's invasion. Gifted with superhuman abilities, Cisco decided to honor his brother Armando by adopting the secret identity of Vibe and protecting their Detroit neighborhood from crime on the down low. Thanks to his constant vibratory state, he was unable to be recorded by surveillance equipment, keeping his activities hidden. But years later, his actions were eventually noticed by a government official, Amanda Waller, who hired an agent to track him. After learning of the source of Cisco's powers, Waller realized his full potential and recruited him to work for the covert government agency Argus, or the Advanced Research Group Uniting Superhumans, offering Cisco the opportunity to kill the same parademon that killed his brother, though it was later revealed that Waller wasn't sure if it was the same parademon. As an agent of Argus, Vibe was tasked with tracking and apprehending breachers, or supposedly dangerous interdimensional fugitives, including the likes of Bart Allen, aka Kid Flash. During that battle, Waller confirmed that Vibe was capable of disrupting a speedster's connection to the Speed Force, making him the ideal candidate for her Justice League of America government super team, whose members were secretly capable of bringing down the heroes that made up the Justice League, including the Flash. The JLA and the Justice League were forced to fight during the Trinity War storyline during which time Vibe was indeed capable of stopping the Flash. Eventually, Vibe was tasked by Argus with bringing down Gypsy, now an illusion-casting intergalactic nomad whose illusions didn't work against Vibe. Realizing that Gypsy was not a threat, Vibe protected her, resulting in Waller sending the Suicide Squad after the two of them. Captured and imprisoned in the Circus, which was a secret prison for superhuman breachers, Vibe managed to escape and set all of the breachers free, including Gypsy. The amount of vibrational energy he expended to break everyone free, however, broke down the walls of reality and allowed an interdimensional villain known as Rupture, later revealed to be Cisco's brother Armando, to capture Vibe and Gypsy and take them to Gypsy's home dimension. It was revealed that Armando was under the control of Gypsy's mother, Mordeth, and Vibe was turned into a multiversal bomb by Gypsy's father in order to stop her. Rupture was able to save Vibe from destroying the multiverse, and after witnessing Mordeth about to kill Vibe, Rupture broke free from his programming and helped Vibe return to his dimension with Gypsy. In exchange for Argus resources to eventually save Armando and Gypsy's father, they agreed to continue on as agents. Powers and abilities wise, Vibe is able to manipulate vibrational waves. He could focus and direct this ability into his hands to deliver powerful shockwave punches, or emit targeted waves to shatter guns, disorient enemies, or even shake mountains. According to Waller, he has the potential energy to crack an entire planet in half. He could also use his abilities to enhance his movement, granting him enhanced agility, and track dimensional beings as he can sense that they operate at a different wavelength. By physically touching transdimensional beings, he could also glimpse their history and some knowledge of the reality they come from. Due to other realities existing within the same space at a different vibrational frequency, Vibe can also create tears in space that act as portals to other dimensions. And that's Vibe.
Now, does he have generally the same backstory in the Flash television show that he has in the comics here?
No way. He is very, very different in the TV show. Although the actor who plays him, Carlos Valdez, I think he does a great job in the role.
Do they ever give him an outfit in the show?
Yeah, they do, with goggles. His powers started off more of like precognition, but then eventually he was able to open up portals.
That's weird.
Yeah.
The on-screen version of Miss America in the movie was a little bit more, I think, true to the comics version. Although she was a little younger and not quite as spunky as the version in the comics. Let me get into Miss America's backstory. Now, the legacy of the character goes back to shortly before World War II, where a young American woman by the name of Madeline Joyce received the powers of flight and enhanced strength when she was struck by an electric discharge from experimental technology. As the war hero Miss America, she was recruited by Bucky Barnes to rescue the Invaders team, consisting of Captain America, the Human Torch, and Submariner, from the villainous Red Skull. She fought alongside the Invaders until the Axis forces' eventual defeat, and after the war became a government agent alongside her former teammate, the Whizzer, whom she eventually married. Her legacy as a hero was never carried on, that is until recently, when America Chavez punched her way into the hero scene. America Chavez was born to Amalia and Elena Chavez in the Utopian Parallel, a paradise pocket realm outside of the time and space of the multiverse. This isolated dimension was created by a mystic entity known as the Demiurge, and existed within his presence, imbuing the land with magical wonders. The Utopian Parallel was a peaceful existence inhabited only by women, but when America was 6 years old, dimensional rifts appeared in the realm that threatened to fracture and destroy the paradise. Her mothers knew that they had to do something to stabilize the parallel, otherwise their daughter and everyone else would be lost. So they sacrificed themselves to seal the rift singularities, and their atoms were dispersed across the multiverse. Grief-stricken, yet inspired by her mother's heroism, America sought to emulate them by becoming a hero herself. Growing up in the ambient presence of the Demiurge gave her the ability to create star-shaped portals to other dimensions. Knowing that her homeland was perfect once again and didn't need salvation, she set out for adventures across the multiverse, her powers protecting her from harm. After about a decade of traveling among different realities, she came to the United States on Earth 616, the Marvel Universe, and encountered other powered heroes. America adopted Madeline Joyce's old moniker of Miss America and joined a misfit group of heroes known as the Teen Brigade, consisting of Beak, Angel, and Ultimate Nullifier. Together, they helped stop the Young Masters of Evil from recruiting Kid Loki into their team and disrupting the balance of chaos and order. She later left the Teen Brigade due to musical differences and resumed her extra-dimensional travels, stopping at Earth 212, where a Loki variant tried to convince her to kill the young Avenger named Wiccan on Earth 616, who was prophesied to one day become the mystic entity known as the Demiurge. Rejecting this offer, America came back to Earth 616 to protect Wiccan and joined the Young Avengers team alongside him, Hulkling, Kate Bishop, Kid Loki, and Marvel Boy. Together, the team fought and defeated an interdimensional parasite. And a short time later, the multiverse collapsed in on itself in a series of incursions, but was saved by Dr. Doom, who had acquired the power of the Beyonders and reformed the multiverse into a patchwork planet called Battleworld, where America was a member of the female superhero team A-Force. And you can learn more about this event by listening to our Superman vs. Dr. Doom episode. After Doom's fall and the reconstitution of the multiverse, America joined a new superhero team called the Ultimates, who sought to preemptively solve threats to Earth before they became a larger problem. She fought against interdimensional threats alongside her teammates Blue Marvel, Black Panther, Spectrum, and Captain Marvel, while simultaneously attending Sotomayor University. During this time, she met her other dimensional grandmother Majumar on her ancestral planet of Fortuna. Through her grandmother, America got to learn more about her mothers and get some closure regarding their death. The Ultimates disbanded after the events of the Second Superhuman Civil War, when America denounced Captain Marvel's case of using predictive justice. America rejoined her former teammate Kate Bishop, whom you can learn more about in her Batgirl vs. Hawkeye Duel episode, on the West Coast Avengers team, and she helped them defeat MODOK, whom you can learn more about in our Hector Hammond vs. MODOK duel. Recently, a story arc brought America's entire history and origin into question when she encountered a young woman claiming to be her sister Catalina, who told America that her memories of the utopian parallel were just a fabrication that she made to cope with the death of their mothers. According to Catalina, America was given powers at a remote island research facility where the interdimensional energies of a paradise realm were used to help treat her when she was young for a terminal disease that she and her sister shared. The unorthodox treatment cured America's illness, but also gave her powers that the head of the facility sought to exploit. While America's mothers tried to steal their daughters away from the facility, they were shot and killed. And at that point, America used a star-shaped portal to escape into the multiverse, accidentally leaving her sister Catalina behind. It is, however, unclear whether or not this retcon of her origin is actually true or not.
Kind of seems like the MCU picked the former.
Yeah, the MCU definitely went with the paradise realm that she grew up in, and her mother's dying there. So I think that's the story that's going to stick. Now, powers-wise, Miss America has enhanced physicals, making her incredibly fast, at speeds of hundreds of miles per hour, and incredibly durable and strong, able to lift around 50 tons. She often uses her strength to create shockwaves by stomping the ground, and if she stomps or punches hard enough, she can smash through star portals that she creates to other dimensions for an effect that resembles shattering through a glass window into another world. She has a type of multiversal cosmic awareness that functions as a sort of GPS sense into where she's traveling while going through the portals. She can also fly, has some combat training, and a vast knowledge of alternate realities. And that's Miss America.
Now, I'm not gonna lie, I get very strong Wonder Woman vibes from America Chavez. Like the whole thing where she traveled from this paradise full of all women and is super strong and can fly and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like ripoff, right?
I mean, not really, because she wears this costume that's based off the American flag.
No, okay. Oh, okay, yeah, completely different. Never mind. What am I thinking?
But now that we got the characters' histories and abilities out of the way, let's speculate on how one of the 1,000 simulated matches will go. The winner is determined by simulations, not the speculation, but it's fun to imagine how this fight could play out.
We don't set any rules for this match other than the characters don't know anything about each other going in, except that the other character is a threat that needs to be put down. And we say they start off about 50 meters apart in an environment that has no bearing on the match itself, because we don't take stats for the environment.
Plus, certain characters have advantages in some environments over others, and we want these characters to win on their own merit. Although I will say that I'm pretty positive both of these characters are going to be going into different environments throughout the course of this fight.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But let's get into it. Vibe and Miss America meet on the battlefield. Who goes first?
I'm going to say that Vibe goes first because I think he's more of a ranged attacker. So I think he's going to start by putting his hands on the ground and sending shockwaves through the ground toward America, that cause sections of the ground to like rise up and plow into her.
So this like earthquake type attack.
Yeah.
Okay, so America Chavez, she sees this earthquake coming at her, and she can kind of do the same thing. She's going to stomp the ground with this hard kick, and it's going to send a counter shockwave through the ground at Vibe's earthquake attack, and it's just going to negate it. And then she's going to stomp the ground again, and Vibe's just going to fall through this shattered star-shaped portal that she created beneath him, and he's going to fall right into this lava universe where everything's made out of lava, including the floor. And he falls into the lava and he burns to death.
Wait, she could create portals from that distance?
Yes.
Okay, so Vibe is falling, but I'm going to say before he hits the lava, he's going to create a tear in that reality that he falls into instead. And he's going to just land back into the fight with America, like right next to her. At which point, he's going to segue into like a series of popping and locking dance moves, right? It's like a dance-off.
Dance-off, bro!
Exactly. With every pop, he sends out like this vibrational pulse toward her that knocks her backward.
Does he usually have to dance to shoot out attacks?
No, but I mean, they're both teenagers, and I'm sure he's attracted to her, so he's going to try and show off his dance moves.
That's so stupid. She's not into him. She's not into that.
Dang.
She likes the ladies. So she's going to rebuff his dance moves. She's going to throw up her arms and deflect the concussive attacks by punching them out of the air, basically. And she's going to just keep punching and work her way toward Vibe, where she grabs him, and she's like, your moves suck! And she's going to punch him in the stomach so hard he craps his pants.
What?
Yep, he has shit all in his pants.
Talk about rejection, dude. Okay, but like once she grabs him though, like he's gonna be able to see her history and learn all about her. And as he's on the ground in pain, he's gonna be like, "You're a Wonder Woman knockoff!" Before he does like this breakdancing leg sweep to her, just knocking her to the ground. And he's just gonna like dance, spring back to his feet, and bombard her with shockwaves that pin her to the ground and just pummel her.
Okay, so she's pinned to the ground, being blasted. While she's on the ground, though, America is just gonna create this star portal beneath her, and she's gonna punch through it, and Vibe's gonna fall through it too, and it's gonna send them both into this like prehistoric dinosaur dimension, where like this alien T-Rex creature just pops out of the bush and eats Vibe in one big bite.
Okay, but suddenly that T-Rex explodes from within as Vibe just, he overloads it with concussive vibrations, okay? And from the explosion, like all this blood and guts are just gonna explode everywhere and blind America. It gets in her eyes, so she doesn't see it coming when a Vibe like charges her and deals a powerful shockwave punch, like sending her flying back right into a portal actually that he's gonna create into a futuristic like boombox dimension, just full of speakers, right?
Okay.
With all this music everywhere, she's gonna be like disoriented, and Vibe's gonna be able to channel those sound waves into a powerful blast that just liquefies America.
That's pretty interesting. A boombox dimension.
Yeah.
Okay, so he shoots her with this powerful vibrational blast, but America is going to manage to overcome her disorientation and block it by throwing up a star portal to use it as like a shield. So the vibrations blast through the star portal and go into this like black hole dimension where all the energy gets sucked into. And the whole dimension actually gets sucked into this black hole dimension through this portal, including Vibe.
And America?
Probably, maybe.
All right, so Vibe and America, they're like spinning around this black hole like they're going down a drain or something, and they're freaked out. Vibe, he's probably going to quickly create a portal to like the first place he could think of, and that's going to be the JLA headquarters. All right.
What?
Yeah, and America falls into the portal too. So she's just gonna like be on the ground, and she's gonna look up and see Vibe and the rest of the Justice League of America team behind him. They're in the DC universe, and now it's fucking on. It's like America versus the entire Justice League.
Well, shit. Well, I'm gonna say that America punches a portal through to the Marvel universe, but not to the Avengers headquarters. She's gonna specifically portal to the location of the World Devourer, Galactus.
What?
So he comes through. So now it's the JLA versus Galactus. And while they're going at it, like fighting, as Vibe watches Galactus just utterly decimate the Justice League.
No.
And he's distracted. America's gonna grab Vibe again, and she's gonna straight up punch a star-shaped hole right through his anus.
Chocolate star portal.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna say though that at the last minute, she remembers that she made him shit himself earlier in the match. So she hesitates.
yeah.
She doesn't want to get shit on her hands. So, because they would just explode everywhere, you know? So in that moment of hesitation, Vibe's gonna grab her and just like overload her with vibrational waves, just causing like all her bones to break and everything to like burst, and she just dies. So he wins.
Well, I reject that. I'm going to say that she punched through his butt, and she's the one who finished this match.
Okay, if she does win though, you realized she has poop and blood on her hands. Like you did that.
I'm willing to accept that. All right. But we'll go ahead and end the speculation there. Either Vibe dies by getting a portal punch through him, or America dies by being shaken to death. We'll go ahead and see which scenario is more likely to happen by inputting these character stats and running 1,000 Monte Carlo simulations. So let's go ahead and do that, and we'll be right back.
I didn't know much about Miss America going into this match, you know, other from what I saw in the movie. I knew that they had their differences, but I actually thought they were going to be a little bit closer stat-wise than what we ended up getting. About half of their stats do match up, but the other half are pretty drastically separate.
Yeah, specifically in the stats of durability and strength, where America just dominates over Vibe. But we determined that Vibe did have a higher damage level capacity.
And of course, range.
And range, yeah. They were pretty even when it came to things like evasiveness and pretty comparable. There were some slight differences in intelligence, where we said Miss America was more intelligent just because of her knowledge of the multiverse, but Vibe was more perceptive due to his like tactile ability to get a read on people from other dimensions.
Right.
So those were kind of a wash.
We also said that Vibe was slightly more versatile, but Miss America was faster because she was able to fly. So taking all of this into account, who do you think came out on top?
I'm going to say Miss America came out on top. I think despite the fact that Vibe can attack from a distance better, Miss America just beats him in too many physical categories. Our Instagram followers agree with me, though it was pretty close. About 56% of them said that Miss America was going to win over Vibe, and I think that this matchup is actually going to turn out pretty close to that number.
Well, I have the results here. The winner of the matchup between Vibe and Miss America is Miss America.
Of course.
And
yeah, I knew it.
It's more than you think. She won 60.3 of the 1,000 simulations we ran compared to Vibe, who won 39.7.
Okay, so 603 matches over 397.
Exactly.
That is a little bit more than I thought it would be, but not by much. I'm not surprised considering that Miss America is considered a powerhouse of the Marvel Universe, whereas Vibe is considered just a third-rate character.
No. See, I actually thought these results were going to be reversed, because Vibe is, you know, according to Amanda Waller's own admission, one of the most powerful metahumans in existence. Like, who else can crack a planet in half?
Miss America?
No.
Like,
she
punching
could try
it really hard.
She'd have to
if
do
it's
it like
a really small
bunch of
planet.
Nah. So I'm genuinely surprised that Vibe did not come out on top. I kind of was afraid that was going to happen once we were calculating up the stats. But yeah, I totally thought Vibe was going to win here. I'm kind of heartbroken.
Good.
What?
Yeah. I want you to be. That's how I want you to feel every single duel match that we do. I want you to be heartbroken and overcome with the realization that DC sucks and Marvel is better.
I haven't come to that realization at all. I've just come to the realization that Miss America is a ripoff character. That's the only realization I've come to in this episode.
Well, all I have to say is that if you don't like my character, you're anti-American. Are you?
I'm pro-USA, but I'm anti-America, Chavez.
Well, that does it for this duel. Let us know what you guys thought about the results by writing to us at dynamicduelpodcast@gmail.com or by visiting us on Instagram or Twitter. You can find links to all of our accounts by checking out our show notes or visiting our website, dynamicduel.com.
And on our site, you can also find a link to our Patreon page, where we offer ad-free episodes of the show via a custom RSS feed, bonus content including top 10 episodes and bloopers, monthly live movie watch-alongs, and access to our Discord server. Again, check it out right after this episode at patreon.com/dynamicduel, linked in our show notes. Our lowest tier, guys, is only $2 a month. So definitely check that out if you want to help support the show.
In our next episode, it's going to be another duel, and we're continuing along these multiversal characters by pitting the Batman who laughs, who is basically an alternate version of Bruce Wayne, who is Jokerized and got the power of Dr. Manhattan, against Cosmic Ghost Rider, who is an alternate version of Frank Castle, possessed by the spirit of vengeance and taken on as a herald of Galactus. It's going to be a badass time, similar to our Batman Beyond versus Spider-Man 2099 characters. We're going to let you know all about these alternate version characters. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hope you guys can join us for that. But that does it for this episode. We want to give a big thanks to our executive producers, John Speas, Ken Johnson, John Starosky, Zachary Hepburn, Dustyn Balcom, Miggy Matanguihan, Brandon Estergard, Ariana Cuadra, Nathaniel Wagner, Levi Yeaton, Austin Wesolowski, and Nick Abanto for helping make this podcast possible. And we'll talk to you guys next week.
Batman is a piece of shit.
True believers